Hi guys, welcome to Cross Trading. So I'll be sharing with you today 21 stocks that I believe over the next coming days can make 100% moves. So stick around and I'll share with you the 6 criteria I've used to screen these stocks. Screen number 1, 200-day simple moving average. All the stocks that I'll be showing you today are at least above the 200-day simple moving average. Some are above the 50 simple moving average, but some of them have got resistance there. So I'll be hoping for a lot of these to be breaking out of that 50 simple moving average line and making the next leg up. They all have an average volume of 500k moving. So hopefully you should be able to shift the stocks as and when you need to. Each of the stocks have an IPO date within the last 3 years. As William O'Neill's book tells us, that the best stocks or the growth stocks that have the highest return usually make them within the first 3 years. Some of them are within the 5 years. I've given an exception to some of them, but majority of them will be within the last 3 years. Sales growth over quarter to quarter, over 20%. Absolutely essential, and all of the stocks that we've got screened here have 20% sales growth. EPS growth next year predicted to be over 20%, and that's what we're looking for in growth stocks. EPS growth over the next year to be over 20%. This is all where the demand comes in, and some of these will, the 200-day will give us a confirmation of an upward trend of the stock. 500k volume tells us that we're able to get in and out the stock quickly. IPO date tells us that we're within the stocks that have the biggest opportunity to make its move. Sales growth is ones that are expanding, stocks that have got great sales potential, and EPS is of course the profitability of the stock. All of this creates a demand, and the float that we've screened for has to be under 50 million. So every one of the stocks that we've got on the list here are under 50 million float. And what that means is there is a low supply in terms of stocks and a high demand, and that combined creates what I call an imbalance. And the imbalance allows us to then have a high ATR, and ATR is the average true range. This means on a daily basis, what does the stock move? So you'll see a lot of these that are not within the accumulation phases have high average true range. We'll start off with the first one, ACCD. Can see that there has been it's above the IPO date, which is the first thing that I'm looking at, which is great. I'm not sure if there's been 200 days on here to be over the 200-day average. Let's see what the 50-day is. It's just below it. So obviously, since the recent market correction, a lot of stocks have dropped below the 50-day. So we can expect here to be some resistance. So what I'm looking for out of this one here is maybe a few more tight days on lower volume, potentially. I like these candlesticks here. It shows that supply is actually dropping, and there isn't much coming to the market. So potentially a few more sideways days before it jumps out like that. I want it to jump out of the 50 simple moving average on high volume, somewhere around here, for it to go. I think the stock generally was acting right on the up days. There was a lot of volume, even on this up day from here to here, although it might have finished on the day red, but there was a lot of volume. You can clearly see that institutions are buying into this stock. It's got an average true range of about $4, which means that if it does break out, it has a potential to do serious numbers. I mean, I traded this last year around around this point here, I believe, as it broke out on high volume. Let's see. Might have even been this breakout here. Was that on high volume? I think it might have been one of these two, maybe here. But nevertheless, it did make, even on one day, you've got, sorry, in a couple of days, 22%. It ended up topping out at 63%. So you can see that this stock has huge potential, and we're not too far from those numbers as well. So that's ACCD. Next one is API. We can see that the IPO date was here. We're kind of flirting with the 50 SMA here. Why I'm really interested in this stock is obviously we can tell that institutions are buying into this, but as it was dropping on relatively low volume, but the up days had high volume. Even on these days here, there were good volumes here. So with an average true range of about $8, when the stock really starts moving, it can really start doing some numbers. Let's look at a previous breakout. Let's just say around, is that one around here? As it started to tighten up around here on breakout day, you could have potentially taken it around here. Even if you took breakout day on here, there's serious numbers to be made here. Let's have a look at this. 70-80%, stuff like that. So yeah, no, looking at this one, definitely. CD, China Data Group. We've got above IPO date here. We could see the big volume days, 1, 2, 3, and we can see as it started to taper down here, it was on lower volume. So what I'm looking for it to do is just reclaim its 50-day moving average. Hopefully get some tight candlesticks around this bit here and break out around here. So we've got that arrow there as well. Looking closely at that. If this does go and reclaim past the sort of resistance that we'll find here, even between there to there, is a good 13%. You've got a bit of movement before it then goes for its next leg as well. Next one, CURI. Got resistance there at the 50 SMA, as we're going to see with many of these stocks. And that's exactly it. The 50 SMA and the breakout point are going to be aligned, and if it does manage to reclaim that, I think we've got good potential here. This one, I'm not sure what the float is. I've probably got it on my other screen, but the average true range is 1.72. So it doesn't move that much on, because as you can see, there's loads of tight candlesticks here. But this, to me, tells me there's a lot of accumulation, especially on this day. You can see a lot of accumulation going on. So there must be some good fundamental story to this one. But for me, what I'm seeing is potentially a pivot area around here, and we can see a little cup and handle forming. If we can reclaim that on high volume, especially if this share CURI, I don't know what sort of float it's got. Outstanding float, it has 51 million. So yeah, no, between here and there, you've got, between here and the highs, you've got 41%. So great stock, that one there. EH is a tough one. I traded this couple of weeks ago, as I saw it jump up here. It kind of had a mini bull flag. I took on this day, I believe, one of these days. No, it might have been on this day, somewhere around here. It jumped up a lot, and then it had a crazy day here, I'm guessing there was some fundamental news, and it dropped all the way back down. But what we could see when it did drop back down here, the accumulation that took place here, big institutions must have seen value down here, and it quickly reclaimed back up again. It's been dropping slowly on low volume, but on the day of breakout, I'm expecting there to be a really high volume here, and we can see when this one really moves, it does really do numbers. So EH is another one. I think this is the autonomous flying aeroplane stuff. I don't really know much about EH, but I know they've got really big government contracts, etc. Let's move on to EOLS. We can see a lot of accumulation down here, and it's well above the 50 SMA when it crossed up here. This one's had a bit of history. This one was 2018 was the IPO date. We're around that date right now, so we're cognizant of it's matching up right here. So what I want to see here is really it start to tighten up around here on low. I'm pulling it out here already. So yeah, tighten up around here, and really when it does break out here, it should be on really high volume. Those sort of volume days here. And when this really starts going, the next resistance up here it is some place away, but with a lot of accumulation going on, you've still got a 17% possibility up here. So EOLS. Next one, Fiverr. I didn't think Fiverr will make my list. I was looking for 50 million float. What does this have as shares outstanding? 32 million. Wow. Okay, this is good. So we can see that it's sort of on a nice steady uptrend. Not really massive fan of its decline here on quite high volume. But we can see it's trying to reclaim this 50 SMA where it's got a little bit of resistance. Looking for maybe some sideways action here before breaking out on high volume, but I want the volume to be high. But when it does get moving, it's got a $26 ATR, sorry. So if it does get moving like it did on this leg here, you've got real serious movements here from there to there at 62%. It's no stranger, and we can see this has had relative strength. I know the fundamentals on this well. I know the actual story on this, and I use Fiverr myself, so I know it has potential for the future. And as we saw from the from my screener, I'm looking for EPS growth of a minimum of 20%. This would most probably have much more than that. But yeah, it's looking to reclaim the 50 MA moving average, and it's in a steady upward growth. So you can get it cheap down here if you ask me. This one, if I was to get a good if I could get a good position in here, I'd probably look to hold this for the long term. GRWG. Growth generation. It's had a nice move up here. You can see a lot of accumulation down here at the sort of 14 to 20 mark. A lot of institutions buying in down here. You can see another one, another cluster up here before it's made its next leg. It's been making nice steady legs going up. You've got 1, 2, 3. The fourth one in William O'Neill's book, he tells you that the fourth one's always the hardest, and you can tell by this one here. But if we can reclaim the 50 MA, we can really start making some moves up here, and we've got nice pull ups when it does happen. HYRE. What we're seeing here, we've got nice numbers going up here. Not really keen on this one here, but you know, we've had a lot of accumulation down here. IPO date here, we came back to touch it. I'm not overly too keen on this, but we can see the volume start to really taper down here, between here and the all-time highs, 57%. So it can really move. Let me see if we've got any overhead resistance up here. Nope. Yeah, I mean, if we can start to reclaim these all-time highs, it's not bad. We can start gaining some good thing. What I can see here is you've got it bouncing around the 50 SMA as well. Here it's touched, and literally from the 50 SMA, it made a monumental move, 130%. Wow, this stock can really go. So yeah, worth having a look at this. Next one, KBNT reclaimed the 50 SMA, which is always nice to see. With 21 EMA on this one. It's beating the 21 EMA. Is it even on the 8 EMA? Wow. Okay, great. Really liking the price action on this. KBNT showing some good relative strength in that case. What are we looking for it to do now? We will go here. Tight candlesticks down here on breakout day, really high volume. If you took that trade, well done. If you bought at the top, you would have probably known that it had run up a bit too much. But on its way down, it's got strength down here again. What sort of investment are we seeing? As it's gone up, it's gone on high volume, but as it's come down, it's on relatively low volume. So I do expect that institutions are still in here, and between here and here, we've still got a good 90%. So KBNT, you got, you know, I expect it to do well. What's the, some accumulation going on here. Look, tight candlesticks everywhere. This is a really nice stock here. MOTS, nice interest here. Really tight candlesticks. 200 moving the average. Where's the 50 SMA? It's just reclaimed that. Can we see a little, and you'll see all of these have very similar characteristics, all because they're all, you know, growth names. I'll take that away. They're growth names. They hold, all of these hold the same characteristics of sales growth over quarter to quarter over 20%, and EPS growth next year 20%. IPO dates within the last 3 years, and you can see that these are companies that have got big expectations. With growth companies, the most popular pattern is the cup and handle, and you'll notice all of them have this cup and handle shape to it. You've got the cup and you've got the handle, and then the breakout. I can go to any of the ones that we've seen above. Potentially cup, and then a handle going on here, cup, and a handle going on here, cup, and a handle going on here. So they're not, it's not by coincidence that these all have the same characteristics. It's because they're all growth names. And if you've read Bill O'Neill's book, you would be able to spot the same thing as me. Going back, KBNT, where we on? No, we were on PUBM. Great stock here. You can see that it was on relatively low volume as it dropped down. Loads of accumulation here. Relatively new IPO. It's just been doing numbers since then. I like these little tight candlesticks. Cup, little handle here. Can we break out of here on high volume? Is what I want to trade. And from here to here, we're at 32%, so we'll have a great we can have a great return there as well. And when they get going, all of these stocks, they can really move because of the low float criteria that we've got on all of them. Not massively keen on this one, to be fair with you. Below the little bit of a resistance of 50 SMA. Why would I have had this on the list? Maybe because of this volume that's come up here. We can see that it started to really have some traction, had good earnings. Okay, I see. So we've had good earnings, and it's made a nice push up here, 17%. Obviously had a bit of resistance up here, but could this be a bull flag? What I mean by bull flag is, if you don't already know, is up here, create a flag pattern, and then push up out here. After 17%, and it hadn't, obviously we would expect some profit takers, but when it did open on Friday a little bit lower, it pushed all the way back up here, and this is a really, really good candlestick. So what are we looking for really? When I zoom into this, I want to see. I'll take this one away now. As you can see, the top of this coincides with the 50 SMA. And really what I'm looking for is now create the cup. This is the handle, and then breakout on large volume here, a bit like this volume bar here. Really liking this one, RSI. SGBX, right. We can see here, as it's been dropping off, relatively low volume. And on the up days, high volume, high volume, high volume. We can see on breakout day here, the potential that this has. Cup, handle, I don't know where you would have taken the breakout. I'll have a look. Probably on this day here, where it's just got that above average volume. when you move it from this bar here, when you can see, so you know, from IPO date, you can actually start to see it for what it is. So you can see that this was the tightness here. Oops. See, this was the tightness here. On breakout day, it attempted on high volume, it didn't do it. But the next day, it didn't do it either. It came back down. But on this day, it started to get moving. But when it really did start moving from peak to trough, you've got, yeah, it went up 70%. So yeah, this one's got a good thing, and it just needs to beat this 50 SMA really. SLGG, I was day trading this the other day. It was quite fun actually. I think it was on this day here. A lot of money put in here. Institutions. We got almost 250 million here. 270 million. It's not your average person buying into this stock on this day. But what's interesting here, after, when was the IPO? In 2019. Need to be cognizant of that, and I need to be cognizant of that one right here. Yeah. Okay. I'll just take off the moving averages. Some resistance here also. There we go. Down at these prices, the £1 prices, we obviously know there'll be some volatility, but I believe that this was accumulation down here. Because what we could see is on the up days, here we go, big institutions piling in, 10 million, 84 million, 270 million. And when it did drop, it went up 176 million. And when it did drop, well, when there was profit taking, it was 46, and it's been tight ever since. You can see these candlesticks being tight. There wasn't huge signs of, you know, big institutions going, you know. You still see that relatively it was small. And on this day it tried to go again, but it couldn't. So we can see that if it does pass here to here, which is 39%, you've got a lot going here. SLGG, I don't know what this does. Super League Gaming, it must have some new contract or something going on here, but this one has a real potential to start moving, especially at 6.52 with previous highs of 9, 11. It's not impossible to say you can reach these highs from down here to here. You've got 70%. It's not impossible in the next couple of weeks, in fact. Next one, Ttcf. Looks quite messy here, doesn't it? A lot of volume though. You've got, from going down here, loads of institutions buying into this. Up here, accumulating below average volume. Let's push this down so that that looks better. There we go. I probably am not too keen on this one. It just looks like there's a lot going on here, to be honest. But you know, it's got similar characteristics like the other ones that we've seen. Wonder why I even put this on here. Potentially because we've got a cup with a handle forming, and if we can get a good position in here, between here and here, which isn't impossible, is 33%. And we can see everything happening relatively tight. And as it was going down during the market correction, it was all going down on low volume. And on this day, as you can see here, as it went down and where institutions would have seen value and liquidity, it's gone back up here. Can we see on these demand tails, it's always on high volume. So I do think that during these little, you know, real body candlesticks, there's a lot of accumulation going on behind the scenes, as we can see from here to here, as it hit its dip. And this was a nice little candlestick combination. We've had a 71% increase. So not my favorite one on the list here, but it's got real potential here because you can see a lot of accumulation going on. 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, loads of clusters of accumulation. And if it can beat 28, then you've got a blue sky. Right, TTD. This one is crazy. It's got a average true range of $50 or somewhere in and around that. We can see a lot of accumulation through here. The trade desk, I honestly have to tell you, I don't know what it is, but it must be a very big company. It's a market cap of 35 billion. And yeah, I think this one is huge. I mean, I traded this on breakout. I think was it a breakout? Yeah, it was this breakout here last year. It was from here I traded at. I mean, from its like move, it went up 63%. And then I sold out half a position somewhere around here, and it went on to make an 87% gain. So it was a huge one. And even if you look at this day here, where I believe institutions saw like this was peanuts at $566. Look what they bought it out. It went up 18% on that day, and you can see that it's only just rising here. This has because I've had previous success with this has a really big, it's not impossible for it to go up to 970 in a short period of time. And that's a 30%. And yeah, and along with the sales and EPS growth expectations of 20%, this can really go on, maybe even have a stock split and become a little bit more valuable for more retail investors. So yeah, I think this is a really decent one. If you can get it down here and it can push all-time highs, you're onto a good one. This is great. It's had really good relative strength. Whilst the market was going down, this was going sideways. So now you can expect, whilst the market's going up, what this is going to do. Really, really tight candlesticks here on low volume. That means around the all-time highs, I believe. UTZ, yep, a bit of accumulation here. Look at this, stage one. Yeah, sorry, this is stage two as it's going up. Base one, up leg, base two, up leg, base three, up leg. Fourth base is always a little bit tricky. So obviously think about your size that you're going to be trading at. But I think that once it breaks this 2662 on high volume, we've got blue skies. VIOT. Let's look back here, what's going on. Some potential resistance up here. What's the 50? Where's the 50? We're well above the 50. What we're seeing here, we're seeing accumulation. Seeing when there has been a drop off, it's been on low volume. Amazing characteristics. Exactly what we're looking for, these tight candlesticks here. You could trade this both ways. You can look for an all-time high here. Obviously, remember that there is a potential resistance here at 1584. So what I would probably be looking to do with this is, if I can get a good position down here on, you know, like a starter or pilot position, looking for a VCP pattern, a bit like the one that Mark Mavini explains in his book. That was rubbish. But yeah, if you get what I mean, you've got it down here. But if you can get a small position, a starter position before the 16% resistance, and then potentially a 40% one up here, it'll be great. VIOT, VVYN. Accumulation. Add a stock split. Really? That's probably what's pushed this one a little bit lower, but everything's on low volume. Why have I put this on here? Where's the 200 day? Not overly keen on this one. I need things to really beat the 200 day. WISA rather. Again, not overly keen on these. I think I may have put these here as they are relatively cheapish in price, so you wouldn't be trading with the same position that you would be trading in potentially with other, you know, some of the other stocks. But we have a potential reversal down here where there's a cross between the 50 and the 200. I wonder what if I can change this to the 150 for a second, if it's significantly yeah, it's not the best in terms of technically, but if we can potentially come out of this on a high volume candlestick, a volume bar like this of the or maybe 300 million worth of volume up here, that will mean that we will beat this high here, which is here, 385, $3.85, and the next resistance after this bar here, and which you know coincides with this 50 SMA, is up here, which means we have a potential of 100% trade, and I see why I've put it on there now. I mean, we can obviously expect some overhead resistance up here, 25%, but that won't be too bad, would it? A little bit of 33% trade, and then you know, coinciding that there's a growth prospect of 20% and a sales prospect of 20%. It's probably not the end of the world. YALA, this is another stock that had a has a relatively low drop. It's a fairly new IPO from October last year. We can see it smashed that. It's now coming back, and so it's now coming back up and retesting its previous resistance point here. I guess this is a more of a pivot point now, and see if we can break past this 50 SMA. I really should get used to saying 50 SMA. See if we can get a little cup and handle and break out. We're looking at potential resistance up here of 72%, and if we can catch that, then that would be amazing. So yeah, these stocks should really be on your radar if you're looking to get if the market is looking to get back on its trend, NDX, or the whatever you really look at. I know the market, you know, people are speculating on the market. I don't know, or I don't have opinion on the market. I'm hoping that it kind of, if it does a cup with a handle like we've been seeing on all of our other charts and can break this 50 SMA, I can almost guarantee my opinion on these stocks will also break out. If it can break past the 13 all-time highs here, then we've got a bit of a opportunity with all of these stocks here. A little bit longer video than I do normally, but this is my Sunday research, a little bit later than normal, but hope you enjoyed that. And if you do want to see a few more of these and my research that I carry out every week, then please let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we can grow. Thank you very much.